Welcome back to Advertising Champions here on Daily Ad Brief. I'm Howard Walpuff, your host. Again, we're talking about advertising and marketing around the country with experts. And today we have two of them, Blake Vita from Gen Video and Austin Beveridge from ARC. Let's start with Blake. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're glad to have you. And Austin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again.
All right, perfect. So we are excited to have you both, and let's just jump right into it. Blake, content is king, and your agency does a tremendous amount with content and getting messaging out. What is the focus that companies should have to make sure that they're really providing good content for their prospects and clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. Gen Video focuses on influencer marketing specifically. So our content approach is a little bit different. So companies come to us to hire influencers to generate content for them, whether that's being posted on the influencer channels or repurposing for their own channels. Our main focus is making sure that that connection between influencer marketing content and e-commerce focused content is very well situated. So it's been a missing piece in the puzzle in the industry of influencer marketing and e-commerce is generating content that is very sales focused. And that's what Gen Video does mainly, is that we are very focused on tracking those sales and optimizing content towards driving sales as the main factor.
Well, it's a great value to these companies to have, obviously, that sort of guidance in the process that you provide as well. Now, Austin, your guidance is a little bit different, making sure that they have the right funding and make sure that they can make these investments into content and also into broader items. So what is it you're looking for to in a company to help them address these types of needs?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is benchmark cash flows. So they have to be able to provide positive unit economics so that every sale that they make generates positive cash flow in their business. A couple of the other things we look for are top line revenue growth and overall positive unit economics across the entire business. And by using content, it's more of a long-term strategy to grow the business, both on the top line and the bottom line. And we've found the businesses that use content and leverage content to grow their businesses typically have more positive unit economics at a whole.
Yes, having the right content really helps in all different ways. And there's a lot of unique ways that people can show the personality themselves, if they're part of the brand, if they're a representative of the brand, or if they're doing it as an individual. Blake, what are some of the main focuses that you are suggesting to clients and platforms they really need to be on?
Yeah, it's really just depends on what you're looking to do. So, all these major social platforms like TikTok is obviously the newest one that's coming up, YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And no one really knows if you're just getting into marketing on social media or other platforms exactly where you're supposed to focus. And that's where A/B testing really comes in handy, where you can come in, grab either if you're doing influencer marketing or if you're doing your own content channels and advertising from your own channels from that standpoint. It's just testing and seeing what works for you, testing out the different types of content. To touch on your last question a little bit more, that's why influencers are so great, is because they built their channels across all their different social channels. So they have an Instagram, they have a TikTok, they have a YouTube channel, and they figured out the ways that they can grow their own channels across all of their user base. So they know how to grow themselves, and brands can learn a lot for their own content based on what influencers are doing. So brands will come to us and then say, hey, I need an influencer to post on whatever channel. Influencers will give their recommendations on how to grow the brand itself, and then brands can learn a lot from that.
Now, Austin, how are you utilizing content with regard to how ARC is being marketed?
Yeah, it's a great question. So historically, the way startups found funding is through introductions from their VCs. So the VCs would introduce them to a bank. The bank would say, hey, we're willing to provide you this venture debt facility of 30 to 50% of whatever equity that they raised. And that's historically how people found funding. Within the last couple of years, there's this new form of funding called revenue-based financing. It's non-dilutive and it's non-restrictive. So there's no covenants, no warrants, no personal guarantees. And so a lot of brands launched into this and created the education layer on what is revenue-based financing, how does it work? Then we drilled down into what are all the long tail keywords that people would go after. So startup funding for SaaS, startup funding for ag tech businesses, startup funding for med tech businesses. So we started to really drill down into long tail keywords that people would be searching for to find both funding and banking.
Well, it definitely does help to have that kind of vision to make sure that you are getting into the mind of the prospect of what they're looking for, to be able to help and address how you're messaging to them so they really could absorb it and obviously move forward working with you. And that really is a lot to do with the back end strategy of content in general, because the keywords are a major piece to all the activity and making sure that you are giving the right direction so that your companies that are working with you are getting the right messaging out. So I really appreciate both of you, because it really helps give a real story for our listeners and how they can help focus on their content and to get some more success. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us as well. It's great when we get these expert panels out to really share real good information for what's working for them and what can be working for you and what's working for the clients in general. Content is king. Making sure you have the ability to do that and the funding to do that is important, because it's going to help you differentiate yourself from your competitors and really make a statement and tell your story. So there's more information about both these great companies here on Daily Ad Brief. Please check that out. But go out, have a great rest of today, and we'll see you next time on Advertising Champions.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.